it's the lack of responsibility, lack of just regulation. I mean, like, not to, I always come back to this, but it's a perfect movie, Jurassic Park. There was no responsibility or regulation when it came to John Hammond creating the dinosaurs on the island, and he just wanted to do it because, you know, it was going to be cool and people were going to love seeing these animals, but there was no responsibility there to actually what anybody was doing. They just did it because they could, and then they were going to make profit off of it, and the dinosaurs ended up eating a lot of those people. So, I mean, it was, I think that same story and tale applies to social media. In AI, there seems to be, with none of this, there is no responsibility. There is no regulation. There is only like, this is making me a shitload of money and everyone should jump on with me, and I can sell your brand here, and sensationalism and anger sells and it makes profit. And the more angrier people get about this, the more money they're going to spend, and we're going to make tons of money, and we're going to watch society crumble, but it's going to be okay because we're going to be set.
Welcome back to another episode of Mildly Alarmed. I'm one of your hosts, Nina Likes, and I am here with my co-host, Justin Bullock. How are things going this week, Justin?
Things are going pretty good. Glad the week's over. I spent most of the week, as you know, under the weather.
Yes.
So under the weather, whatever that's a strange phrase, under the weather. But yeah, no, I'm feeling much better now though. Thankfully it didn't last too long. It actually was a pretty quick stint. Tuesday was pretty much the worst of it, but I'm feeling good. And so yeah, I'm feeling much better, ready to tackle another week. Another
Good.
show. Yeah. The show must go on. So,
of course.
yeah.
How are you? How'd the writing go this week after our little jaunt with AI last week?
That was fun. I actually didn't do too much writing this week. I did some last night, working on the new piece, which I think I'm gonna call Of Sound Mind. But working title still in progress. But I did do a little bit of that. But I will say, like, a little intimidated by AI's ability to write. I had not touched that story that we had AI do. I haven't even thought about it since then. It's almost like AI took the wind out of my sails for it. But no, I'll get back to it. But no, I got something else that I'm kind of working on. So I didn't do too much writing. But that also might be because I just got my first Nintendo Switch because someone got a Switch too. So I inherited a Switch. So that's probably taking a lot of my focus from, you know, doing things like playing Animal Crossing and stuff like that. So that probably had something to do with it. But look, you know, still optimistic about the new story and how it's going there.
Good.
Yeah.
I had my own interesting experience with AI after last week because as you know, like we were both pretty quick to adopt ChatGPT as our like home base used AI.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
And I use Claude for work. And I was like, after last week, that story that Claude wrote to me was significantly more impressive than the one that ChatGPT wrote.
Yeah.
And so I think you know that I've been kicking around the idea of a story called Beyond Tomorrow for quite some time, for like a couple of years.
Yeah, it was going to be like was that the one that was going to be like your comic book?
That was a different one. The Beyond Tomorrow one was kind of the one based on the company that I used to work for and whatnot.
Now I remember this one. Yeah, the very science fiction.
Yeah, very science fiction. And I've thought of like 3 different ways to start it in the past. And I actually did write a comic version of it. I wrote 2 different novelized first chapters, and I could not for the life of me continue any of them. I just like drew a full-on blank at the end of the first chapter. So I was like, let me chat with Claude. Let's see what Claude has to offer, because I've brought it to ChatGPT before. And you know, ChatGPT it'll basically plan your whole story for you. It'll just be like, that's a good idea. Here's all the things you could do with that idea. And then you get overwhelmed and you never want to write ever again. And
plus too, ChatGPT's advice on like how it should go, it usually isn't like great. It's usually like a really weird,
Yeah.
formulaic story.
Plus, it's really sycophantic. So, like, it much
Mm-hmm.
more so than Claude. Claude seems to have been trained to push back a little bit more than ChatGPT, and so I was like, I'll give it a shot. So I took all the versions of Beyond Tomorrow that I wrote, and I gave them to Claude, and I said, "Tell me what you think of these versions. Which one is the best intro, and why you think that?" And it picked one, and then it gave me an explanation, and then it kind of asked what I was planning to do with the story, and I told it, like, I don't know. My problem is that I start to write it and then I get stuck because I'm used to writing, like, dramatic, action-y type things. I'm not used to writing, like the beginning of this story is gonna have to be like, "These are all the good times,"
Mm,
and I'm not great at that. Like, I have to basically make a reader kind of fall in love with the company, and, uh, it it asked me a bunch of questions about what it was like to work at this company and what were the memories I had that were most beloved, and
interesting.
it did a lot of questioning to get ideas out of me, and then once we had kind of passed information back and forth, gave me just what it thought a good first 5 chapter arc would be,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing else. Just that.
It's interesting. Question. Did it have you start your story um with the good times, or did it have you start kind of like in the bad times already and work backwards?
So I gave it a couple of versions. One of them was in the bad times and worked backwards, and one
Mm-hmm.
was in the good times, but it had some drama associated with it, like the mother or the person in the story has a relationship with her mother who has like a bad relationship with the company that she works for, and so that's like in it a little bit. And basically when it read the version that started off more like with action and in the future, it said that it was good, but the reader would have no real emotional attachment to the character at that point. And so, even though it would be an interesting read, perhaps, and it might be better suited for
Mm-hmm.
like a comic in that sense because you could, hit people with a lot of like crazy images. Uh,
Yeah, visuals.
it it thought that because of the point of the story, a slower build in the beginning where people got to know the character, her like internal struggle, because she also like she's working for this company that she ends up loving, but at first she's like, "This is suspicious. Like everybody here is happy. It's weird." Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it thought that like slower build would pay off better over time than starting it in a more dramatic fashion.
Okay. Hey, I was thinking about when I wrote The Bloody Revenge of David Red, um, I worked on that story for a long time, a good 6, 7 years before I finally like, finished it and wrote the book. And it became different things. It started as a short film, feature film book. But I remember like one thing that became a problem that when I was kind of working on it was that I was like, where do I start? So I started with the very beginning, and I told this like really linear story. Like it was going to be like, David Red's a child. We see why he's so hell-bent on revenge. And then, it goes from him growing up and then learning all the things and then setting off to get his revenge against the four people who done him wrong. But when I started writing the book, it was just it seemed to drag on, and that's when I decided that like actually I think I'll start the story with a stagecoach robbery and have it center around him killing this one guy who you find out later at the end of that story that it was one of the people he's looking for, and then continue on with the story that way, and I don't even tell I don't even tell kind of the whole reason why he's doing this until like 200 pages in, and
Yeah.
then I completely omitted the whole part where he grew up and saved that for the beginning of the second book.
Yeah.
So it was a, I don't know, it was it, but I felt like it worked. So I
It
don't know.
did.
Sometimes starting, in the middle can sometimes kind of be a good way to do it. I don't know.
I think it probably depends on how the arc of your story is going to go
Yeah,
overall because like David Red is a very action-based story. So starting with action makes sense because you're going to see a lot of it throughout the
a
entire
lot of it.
book. So
Yeah.
you get a sense of what you're getting into from like the very first
Hmm.
chapter. I think the one I'm working on will be a slightly more quiet in a lot of ways. Like there will obviously be extreme moments they're traveling through space, but the there won't be that kind of like I mean, David Red is a nearly immortal character in some places for the amount of beat downs that he takes.
Yeah,
So you kind of
yeah.
have to
That's one of
get the reader
David
into that
Red's,
early.
for sure. That's one of David Red's superpowers, that he can take a damn beating.
Yeah.
Um, Hell hath no fury like a man on a quest for revenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely got that from reading Punisher comics for most of my life, watching the Punisher take an absolute beating through whatever arc he was going through, only to come back in the end and just lay waste to an entire mob syndicate while covered in blood. Like, it was totally like, yeah, that's David Red through and through.
Oh. But no, I mean, I thought it was interesting. ChatGPT has never asked me so many questions before when I've tried to discuss writing with
Hmm.
it. And
Oh, yeah, it never asked me.
I thought it
It
was an
never asked me any
interesting.
questions like that. It's always like, because I use it to keep notes. So really all I need it to do is just retain information. I don't need advice. I don't
Yeah.
want it from it. Um, but it will be like, let me work on an outline for you. Let me write the first chapter for you. Let me do this for you. And it's like, no, no, just keep the notes. But I would really actually appreciate it if it would ask me, like, when I'm talking about, like, so for this new story that I'm working on, of Sound Mind, or whatever it's going to be called, um, it's very psychological and it's very character driven. It's scary, but it doesn't, the fear or the horror doesn't really come from the things that kind of happen. It's more of like who these people are and unraveling who they are, and like the psychological aspects of each character. I would
Hmm.
really appreciate if it asked me questions, about the characters and where I'm kind of going with it, to spitball ideas, but it
Yeah.
really doesn't. Or if I make a decision, like if there was this, like, for example, there's this one character in the story who, when I started writing it, was going to be kind of more meek and mild and maybe sympathetic. But as I started writing it, I completely changed my mind on this person and decided to make them just irredeemable. As you learn more about them, you kind of get the ick factor from them, and
Yeah.
they stop being sympathetic and start being like, this dude is like super creepy.
Hmm.
And ChatGPT was like, you shouldn't do that because no one's going to like this character. It's like, I know that
Yeah.
is like, I think it would be scary if there was someone among them who was creepy and could potentially be dangerous to the group. And ChatGPT was like, no, like, you're going to ruin this person's chance at redemption. And it's like, they're not supposed to be redeemed. Every character shouldn't have a hero arc. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd be curious to see if you started to use Claude instead of ChatGPT, what impact it might have on your
Just
writing.
might. I just might, because I think Claude might be the better one. And isn't it Chat GPT kind of the one that's in the kind of the controversy at the moment?
It is. But well, I mean they both
Yeah.
are. But depends what
Okay.
side of it you're on, I guess. But
Yeah.
I I mean ChatGPT at no point during my conversation with it last night asked if I wanted asked if it should outline anything for me, if it should write anything for me. It only tried to help me
That's
figure
good.
out what I wanted to write.
That's perfect, because Chat GPT, I feel like, is trying to do it for you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
You know
But
what? I might just
anyway,
try Claude. I might just do that. Thank you. I might try it out and see
yeah,
if it works for myself. I don't know. How do you
yeah,
feel? So I mean, are you going, is this something now that you feel like you're gonna write out? I mean, do you feel confident enough to maybe start the story finally? How do you feel about it
might
after
try
talking
it.
about it?
I mean, you and I both know we have a ton going on, but
Yeah, we do.
I I may give it a shot and see if I can get somewhere with it. Um, the kind of like chapter arc that it suggested. Um, I got to think about it a little bit, but I did like it, so
Hmm.
I may give that a little bit of a shot and see if what happens if I like that and feel like I can keep writing it or not. But I like it better because it did not try to plan the whole story for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
don't want that
like we
either.
were talking about last week, you and I tend to be very stream of consciousness writers. So I may get to chapter 3 and then change completely what I had decided to do.
Yeah, that
And
happens to me all the
I
time.
feel like Claude will be more amenable to those changes, and ChatGPT
Yeah.
would be like, "You didn't follow the script."
You didn't
So,
follow the plan that I laid out for you. What are you doing? Yeah.
yeah, but it would be interesting, and I would be interested to see what kind of feedback you get from Claude as opposed to ChatGPT. Like, you and I always have a lot of conversations about your writing when you're like struggling with a concept or trying to decide if like something is right for a character. You'll often talk to me, and I'll just like pose you questions about it, which is kind of what Claude did for me last night. So I'm curious if it would be helpful the way that like having you and I having questions about your work is helpful. Um, but for today's show, we're actually not going to talk about AI too much anymore. We're going to talk about social media. So we thought today that we would take a little journey back to 2005. I was
Mm.
15, which means I assume you were 16,
I
17,
was
somewhere in
16
there.
years old. 16 years old. I was in the 10th grade. Arena High School.
Yep. And I was a freshman in high school. And Facebook was just getting started. And
Hmm.
you and I and hundreds to thousands of our peers were in like the first group of people to use it. Um, Now, there is a lovely game that you and I have played before
Yeah,
called Emily
it's
is
a great
Away,
game.
particularly Emily is Away 3. So we're going to show it to the people because it is kind of a lovely flashback to that time.
Yeah,
So
look at that.
I restarted the game just so it could give us those first few things. And to all the folks that are younger than us, this is what Facebook used to look like. Um, you know, even all the things that are on the side over here, I don't think there were that many there, to be
I
honest.
don't either. But
But it's
I miss this kind of time period because I actually started on MySpace. I didn't
mhm.
have one personally, but I was in a rock band in high school, and we had our own MySpace page that the guitar player Bunny, we called him Bunny, he created for us. The band was called Attic Roots, and we had this cool page. I thought it was so cool. We had this cool page where like there was an attic with like this tree coming out of it and everything. And um, I thought that was so cool at the time. I was like, oh my God, like our band is on the internet. We're like gonna make it. We're gonna succeed. Like I just thought it was like really cool. Like and then I remember getting Facebook in 2005. The first time I heard about it, it's actually more for college students. Do you remember this? Like, because the first time I heard about it, a girl who I liked at the time, who lived in my neighborhood, she moved and went off to NC State. And when I went to visit, she was telling me about like this thing called Facebook, and it was a way that all college students could kind of keep up with one another and find out where the parties were and who was going to what and who was doing what. And then she kind of showed it to me, and then I got it so that, we could talk. And then I noticed that, like, I was telling other friends in my group about it, and it just kinda started spreading that way, and it became like a college, high school type of thing. Is that kinda how you remember it? How did you find out about it?
No, everyone in my high school had it already by the time that I joined. It was I mean, I know it was started in Boston or whatever, so maybe just because I was geographically closer, more people had adopted it, but, uh, no, it was a very much a high school platform for us. Now to be fair, my high school was directly adjacent to my college, which was the University of Connecticut.
Okay. So,
Um,
alright, that does make sense that you'd probably have access to it than someone like me growing up out in the sticks. What is this Facebook?
but the thing that I really wanted to point out about this Emily is Away version of Facebook is there were there were very few like reactions. There were very few posts. I like this, your political uncle. Um, there's just all you really saw, and you see here, your Aunt Karen, your political uncle, a wine mom. Like you really only saw posts of your friends and family, people who you had connected with. Uh, you went on it to just post about your own life, but in a very like internal monologue kind of way. And even the way that like these are phrased, like I remember it used to be more like Nina is something like it would start a prompt for you and you would have to finish it
Mhm.
like is feeling happy today, is
Yeah.
going to a protest, like you, there were just things that it would like prompt you to say, and there wasn't really too much content other than things from your friends.
No,
uh
I just remember, uploading pictures. Um, I remember playing games on it and, those old, like, Flash games, and I remember, taking quizzes. Do you remember, like, what character from such and such are you? Which superhero are you? And you would, like,
sure.
people had made these quizzes. I remember those kinds of things. Um, oh, here we go.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
here's the sign up account. But yeah, so we wanted to show that because I think today we're probably going to talk mostly about what social media feels like to us now. But I think the best way to explain our position on that is to start by talking about what it used to feel like. And I don't know about you, but even when I had Facebook in high school, the most of the reason I was on it at a certain point was not really to like gawk at other people or even really hang out with friends. Like there was that weird function where you could like poke people, which I don't even know if it still
mhm.
exists, but
I don't
like you
either.
would have like poke wars with your friends,
Yeah,
and um they eventually got like a few games that were really old school but kind of fun. They had like a version of Frogger at one point, which was hilarious.
yeah.
Um and that's really all we were doing on it. We were occasionally like posting photos and updates and maybe sharing like, dramatic teen writings or something. But
Yeah,
like,
I did that 'cause I'm like you. I don't remember, it's very different than what it is today. I
yeah,
know that. It's very different. So my experience with it was, I wanted to be, a writer of some type, and so I would use it to share writings. I think I would post, little short stories there. Which I kind of stopped doing because then, my mom would get weird about it. She'd be like, "Why are you writing stuff like this and posting it?" And I put a pin in that. But I was like big into deviant art. Do you remember deviant art?
yes, I'm pretty sure I can still log into my DeviantArt account
I
somehow.
don't
I
want to.
tried a few years ago just to see if anything was still there.
Yeah,
But
I don't want
yes,
to.
I
That's
also
too
had one.
cringy. That's another thing. I do know that when my Facebook memories pop up and I go back like 15 years and like read the things I was posting, it usually does end up being like super cringy and I'm kind of embarrassed.
Oh, for
But
sure.
But yeah, so but I remember it being kind of like that. I don't even remember the first time I saw something political posted on on social media. I do know that it came from someone I know this when I first started seeing it came from older users of Facebook because I know that
Yeah.
like when it was just us millennials, it felt like a better place. Um, it felt like it was just to have fun and kind of chat with. You know, I was big into using, you know, instant messenger, AOL instant messenger. That was something I used to use a lot. And I'd have
Sure.
like 10, 20 chats going on at one time. And then when Facebook kind of came along, all of those people on chat messenger kind of migrated over to Facebook and we were using the Facebook messenger tool.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the just sitting there talking. Um, I remember a friend, this is kind of funny, but I do remember like a friend, we would get on Facebook Messenger and we would chat and send each other videos and we would watch them at the same time, but like we would paste the link in the chat, click on it, watch it and comment on it as we were doing it
Hmm.
through the chat. Like that was kind of what it was, but I don't know. I feel like it didn't kind of become a problem until the adults got involved. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I might have a slightly different view of it only because I came from a very progressive high school that was next to a pretty progressive college. So we were protesting things, we were trying to spread awareness of things, and we were using social media for some of that.
Hmm.
Now a lot of it was we're holding an event, come to our event, and that kind of thing at social media. But we weren't like the thing that was not happening at that time was the just like really unbridled debates and airing of public opinions.
Yeah. That,
Um, there like we would, hold events and stuff, and anyone who wanted to go would accept the invite, and anybody who didn't would decline the invite, and there wasn't anything on the page like, "This event is nonsense. All you liberals should die." Like, there wasn't any of that shit.
yeah, there wasn't that.
Um, so, I don't know, I mean, I might agree, but, like and maybe you and I just need to, like, go back and
And look
figure
through it.
out like,
Like,
there must have been trolls at the time, but, like, my experience of social media was not that I go online and be attacked. My experience of social media at the time was I go online, I hang out with my friends, I post a couple of things, like photos, opinions, events that we're doing, and then I bounce and go back to my real life.
it had to have happened quickly because if I got social media in 2005, um, then by 2007, 2008, I know I'm debating people on Facebook
Hmm.
because, like, I remember, and I grew up around some strange, listen, I grew up around some strange people. Um, we could do a whole show on that one day, but
Yeah.
you know, there was this church in the area that I went to that I grew up in, Southern Baptist Church. Um, and there was there were those folks got on Facebook. And so you would follow them. And I feel like that's when the problems began. Like it feels like
Hmm.
I remember like seeing early on some very questionable shit that they were posting and having these thoughts of like, I can't not say anything about this. It's getting a little heated because that was also around the time that Obama would have been campaigning for president,
Yeah.
and there started being some posts or opinions, memes, early stages of memes coming out at the time about that and whether or not he was an American. And so, like, yeah, I would debate people on there, probably to the chagrin of a lot of folks that I knew who didn't want me doing those kinds of things. They still probably don't, but I can't help myself. But you know, if I see something stupid or hateful. Like I feel like, I mean, I'm better about it now. I don't really get involved in it now, but mostly because I've since unfriended or blocked. So I try to tailor my worldview. But
Yeah.
back then, like I saw all kinds of like trash, and I felt like it was coming from those people who I grew up around. I mean, it wasn't people I was going to high school with.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't
fair.
arguing with any of them.
That's true. I'm trying to think, like, I've never been one to really argue on social media, period. I will post things and I will occasionally get involved if someone comes at me, but I don't often just
Hmm.
like go at other people for their opinions, mostly because when I see my relatives posting things now, if they're on the wrong side of history, it's usually because they're posting something that is fake, which we'll get to. But I don't I don't know. There I feel like, and you probably have a different experience of this because you had religion coming into your debates more than I would have. But like our debates were, if we were having any, were based on articles and facts and like, should we be doing something? So like you and I both talk about the Iraq Afghanistan war and Bush and all of that stuff, and that was happening around that time. Then Obama came in, and um, I think largely because a lot of our generation got around Obama,
Hmm.
and we wanted to see like significant change. And when change didn't happen fast enough, that's when we were out there like yelling about it. And there were some debates around that kind of thing. I don't know if we just gave people more of a pass at the time because not every it felt like not everyone still had the same access to information. Like
Hmm.
I remember one time in a class at UConn, one of my friends was arguing with someone about Guantanamo Bay. Or no, they were arguing with someone about whether or not the U.S. tortures people, I think, which there were a lot of reports about at the time. Enhanced interrogation, we should say. And one of the kids was like, "We don't do that." And then my friend was like, "What about Guantanamo Bay?" And they were like, "What's that?" Um, and there was I don't know, there was just something there where it was like, not everyone has the same access to information. So it almost felt like if you were arguing with someone, they just didn't have all the facts.
Hmm.
But now arguments, uh, people still don't have all the facts, but they're very convinced that the fake shit that they saw was true. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
It's like two different debate styles, and they were both bad, but one maybe was more useful than the other. Like now, if you try to debate somebody and you're debating them on fake shit, like what's the point even?
yeah. I feel like that was less so back then, obviously. I'm thinking of like the debates I had because I wasn't even like um I wasn't defending Obama. It was like I remember I had a lot of debates about gun control in 2006, 2007. There was debates on gun control, which hasn't changed all those years, all these years later. But I remember like the debates that I was having wasn't about like, it feels like it wasn't about particular policy. I was fighting over people of like whether guns should be allowed or not, because I didn't think they should be. And I remember people would take to Facebook when after a shooting, like a shooting would happen, and then an hour later, people I knew would be on Facebook already with talking points, just regurgitating
Interesting.
talking points that maybe they saw on Fox News that afternoon. Um, and then I would be countering that, and then my army of friends would see that and they'd join in, and then their army of friends would join in, and next thing you know, we're lobbing grenades at one another in this like wasteland. We're in our trenches and we're firing back and forth in a very World War I style thing. And at the end of the day, the post is gone and the ball didn't move, that there's still guns, and we all hate each other. But I feel like where it really became a problem when I started I think the peak of me starting to heavily get involved with people when it became less about like gun control and more about attacking people or getting attacked or trying to really push back about against something that wasn't real was 2015, 2016. And tell me what was going on in 2015 and 2016. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Dear leader.
that's when I feel like things really started getting out of control because it stopped being like, we're just going to have a disagreement about, all right, another one. We're going to have a disagreement about whether big gulps should be allowed or not, or we're going to have a disagreement about gun control to some really like racist, misogynistic type stuff. And how can we sit by and allow someone to say these things and post these things on Facebook, and then people would post these things on Facebook, shadowing what our dear leader was saying, and then it was pushing back against that. I feel like that really ramped up in 2015, and it's only gotten worse since then. You were talking about misinformation. I feel like that peaked obviously in 2020.
Yeah. There, I don't know. If you log on Facebook today, it's nothing like what Emily is portraying, right? I don't even, if I log on to Facebook right now, I might not even see a post from my friends or family in the first 20 or 30 posts I scroll through. Like, the feed is overrun with information, and most of it is fake. And you and I watched this episode of Colbert the other day, and they were talking about this disinformation and misinformation, onslaught of information that feels like a psychological attack.
Yes.
And
It feels like we're guinea pigs in some crazy experiment.
it does. And I guess it all probably goes back to what you were talking about in 2020 and our dear leader and the want of those on that particular team to break all of our institutions so that we have faith in nothing except them, right? They hold the
But that,
truth.
not to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I like what you're saying because I also look at them and I do see a weaponization of social media from like, for like, I guess people on the right saw it as an opportunity to weaponize it and turn it into a source of misinformation to where we wouldn't be able to trust what we were hearing anymore. We wouldn't be able to trust anything in our institutions or whatnot. But it also, when you look at those clowns, especially of how they're handling this current war, if you look at those clowns, you're almost like, how is it that that bunch of circus freaks are able to orchestrate something like that? Does it not seem like there is this giant Bond villain at the top? And we're down here fighting the minions, but there is still like this overlord, dark side Thanos type of character
Stephen Miller.
pulling the strings from the top, because you look at this administration and you're like, there's no way that they could orchestrate this. They can't even agree on if they've won the war or not,
Yeah. Or whether or not we need help.
or whether or not we need help. But yet they orchestrate this massive right wing takeover of social media? Question mark. I don't know. I mean, who is it? Mark Zuckerberg? Like, who is responsible for this?
I don't know. It does feel like that, though. I mean, especially when you hear those stories of what was it, Elon Musk, uh, during the Super Bowl one year tweeted something, and Biden tweeted nearly the same thing, and Biden's tweet got a lot more engagement, and so he went back. He called all the devs at Twitter in the middle of the night and was like, "You need to make it so that my tweets are seen by more people than Biden. Like, you need to tweak the algorithm to that point." I mean, if they're so controlling and narcissistic, and they gain a lot from being supportive of an administration like the one we have right now,
Mm-hmm.
then I guess it does make sense. But it's just at the same time, I feel like they're undermining their own platforms. Like, you and I talked about last week how people are coming back to like more in-person real hobbies that aren't on their computers. And like if I've been thinking about leaving Facebook for some time. The only reason I keep it is that I have a few friends who live far away or overseas, and Facebook is the way we communicate with each other. Now we could probably just pick another platform or email, but sometimes Facebook is just easier for people. And that's really the only reason I keep it, because every time I log on to that thing, I am just bombarded with fake shit. And it's not even all political. Like, I logged on the other day, or my mom sent me a text the other day that was like, Chase Elliott hates gays, basically. And I was like,
Yeah.
Chase Elliott has never said a word to piss off anyone in his whole life, at least publicly.
Right.
Like, there's
Yes.
no way that Chase Elliott is out there being like, gays suck. And he wouldn't do it anyway because NASCAR would fine him and suspend him and whatever. So, like,
But it turns out Daniel Dye apparently is.
and he suffered the consequences
And he
for it,
suffered the
though.
consequences for it. Yeah.
I like, and then I went to that page, the Chase Elliott news page, right? And it's mostly just attacks against Bubba Wallace, which
Mm-hmm.
would make sense for someone trying to push a right wing agenda. And I was like, all this shit is fake. Like, there was fake news about Dale Jr., and I was like, no one hates him. So what is the point of this page? Like,
Facebook sucks. I mean, because I know it's not just with racing, but with anything. It's just all clickbait articles. Um, it'll say like, I don't know, Brie Larson hates America, and
yeah,
you click on it, and it'll just be ads, and they'll actually be like no article whatsoever, and it was just clickbait, and it's full of yeah, Facebook's probably the worst when it comes to social media. I keep it because of my writing. I want to be able to like tell people when I'm doing a book signing, or tell people that I have a new book coming out or something like that. Um, but then again, like I don't really market myself enough to, I guess, justify keeping it. I would love to get off Facebook. I like Instagram, but even then it's becoming, I don't know, but Facebook is probably the worst of the social medias. I don't
it
have a
is.
Twitter or an X or whatever they're calling it these days. I don't have a TikTok or a Tic Tac, whatever you're calling that. I don't have any of that. So I just have Facebook and Instagram, and out of the two, Facebook is probably my least. It's not probably. It is my least favorite of the two. It's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
It's
No,
gross, and I would love to get off of it. Do you think it's time to get off of? Do you think it's time to get off Facebook?
I mean, it might be. It's just, I don't know. Like, there was a mass exodus of Twitter when Elon took over, right? And that
Mm-hmm.
included me. I was like, fuck Twitter. I don't want to be on this platform anymore. And there's a dual debate there, right? There's leave it, and much like the boycott of Hulu over Jimmy Kimmel and Disney, maybe things will change. That's usually the reason to boycott something. However, tons of people left Twitter and nothing changed. If anything, it got even worse.
Yeah, because all
Um,
those voices left.
and the people who are still there are like, we have a responsibility to be here and scream into the void about how everything's wrong and everything's broken and
Yeah,
whatnot.
yeah.
I
It's
don't know how
almost
much
like
that
Yeah,
helps,
that's
though.
interesting. Yeah, that's very interesting. You mentioned that because it's almost like they ran off all the libs, and they were like, well, we got it all to ourselves. This is now our island. We can
Yeah.
push as much misinformation as we'd like. Like we can be as racist as we want to be.
But
Uh,
even back in 2008, 2012, there were articles already out there starting about the echo chamber, right? You
mm,
you log on to social media, and because of the way the algorithm works, all you see are your own thoughts and ideas reflected back to you as truth.
yes.
So if you're super liberal, you're going to log on there and you're going to see other super liberal posts. If you're to the right, you're going to log on there and see posts about things on the right and opinions from the right. That is also not good.
No, it's not.
So we, at no point, except when it started at like the very first few months, maybe years, have had a social media platform where it's a balanced platform, where you see people who share your ideas and see people who do not.
Yes.
And I
But isn't
I
there also, um, with that, because I know you're like me. You don't just, um, take things at what what you see, even if it benefits you and your opinion.
yeah,
Because like that's why for me, I listen to the Majority Report, and I listen to the Bulwark, and I listen to Pod Save. And out of all three of those, even though I like those shows because they're
they're
more
liberal.
left leaning,
Yeah.
in my opinion, the Majority Report is a little more sensational than maybe Pod Save is. And but so between listening to the Bulwark and Pod Save and the Majority Report, if they all talk about the same topics, out of the three of them emerges something that is accurate. But that's responsibility. And to do what you did, you see Chase Elliott hates gays on Facebook or whatever it may be. There's a responsibility that you were like, that doesn't pass the smell test. And then you go out and you find out, yes, this site is bogus. But someone else who doesn't have that kind of responsibility, and there's very few people who I feel like do have that responsibility,
Yeah.
they see that, they're like, yes, I'm so happy that my worldview agrees, coincides with Chase Elliott, that I also hate gay people, and now Chase Elliott hates gay people, and I think that's fantastic. And I'm not even going to use two brain cells to try to figure out. I now feel validated
Right.
that me and Chase Elliott hate gay people, and that's where it ends. But it takes responsibility to do that, and they're preying on the fact that a lot of people won't use that responsibility, and they don't.
Yeah, I kind of wonder where that comes from. I know that as millennials, we were sort of the early first adopters of most technology that's still
Hmm.
used this century. And that includes computers and like Google searches and stuff like that. We used to have Ask
Yes.
Jeeves.
Ask Jeeves.
And I remember every class I took from elementary school to high school, every single teacher was cite your sources. You can't use Wikipedia as a source. You must look for like 3 levels of confirmation on anything that you're looking up on the internet.
Absolutely.
Like you they kind of drilled into our brains this level of trust nothing on the internet.
Agreed.
And
I had the
I
same thing.
I don't trust anything on the
Neither
internet.
do I.
Like you
I
said,
don't
even
trust
if it
things that
supports me.
I don't trust things that people tell me.
Yeah, I don't either. But
Like I told you, I grew up around some strange folks. I've met a lot of weird people in my life. You know this.
yeah,
I don't trust anything people tell me.
but for people who are older than us or people who are younger than us, I don't know that that ever existed. It was like there was no I mean, teachers must be saying the same things now, but maybe because of the rise of AI, it's changed from double check everything to like just don't use AI to write your paper. Like maybe the bar has moved.
Well, that is becoming a problem because I think I mentioned last week I had a friend who's a teacher, and she was telling me that like the kids coming out of high school going into college, she teaches technical writing in college, I think is what it was, and she goes, they don't know how to write or have any critical thinking skills, and a lot of them, she put a Trojan horse in her prompt of the assignment one time. She put a Trojan horse in there that one of the sources was, I forget how she did it, but she put her dog's name in there or something like that. And
Yeah.
so when the kids like turned in the report, it was cited as one of her sources being her dog. Um, that's how she could catch him. But they are doing stuff like that. They're having AI write their
Yeah.
book reports or whatever it is that they're doing. But she was telling me it's a real problem that she's seeing, that
I just don't know how we find our way back to truth
Oh,
online,
dude, we
if it's
don't,
even
dude.
possible.
It's not. That toothpaste is out of the tube. Now, I know that, like, I'm more of a pessimist than you are, I think,
For sure.
judged by our last show, but man, I don't think we do go back from here. I think this is the slow decline, man. Could you imagine? Like, 'all right, let's just let me, the writer, pose you a scenario, okay?
Yeah.
Imagine someone coming out and saying, look, we have lost the responsibility to maintain this in a good way. I hereby decree that all social media platforms be banned henceforth. Could you imagine taking away people's TikTok and Facebook, Instagram, and saying we need to go back to a society where we don't know what the dude over there's opinion is?
No, I mean, I don't think you can put the cat back in the bag, so to speak, but, like, I I there are people trying. Like, there's that platform Ground News, right, where they try to show you all the versions of one story that are out there in the world. So you know that if your version is coming from the left or the right, or, like, the potential truthfulness or not of the story that you're reading, there are platforms out there and people trying to engineer technology that is more balanced or at least more honest in its sourcing. I don't think we're ever going to get a version of social media like that out of the people who are currently running social
No,
media.
they've gotten in bed with right wing propaganda.
Sure, but what I'm
Do you
getting at is that I don't that doesn't mean that we won't ever get one, period.
like in the future one day we get something like a social media platform that is like that?
That is more balanced, that
Mhm.
is more honest. Cuz like Twitter, let's take Twitter for an example. Before Twitter got Elon'd, it had, and I think it still technically has this, but it had that option of like community notes, right? So if like you
Yeah.
saw a post and you were like, this is garbage, you could leave a note on it basically saying that it was not true. Um, there could be a world in which there's more of that on social media, but I feel like it would also have to be extremely guarded. I mean, we know how much, like on that Chase Elliott post, for example, there were hundreds of comments being like, yeah, Chase Elliott, I agree. Everything's got too woke. And I don't know, there is no way for me to tell how many of those comments are people and how many of those comments are bots.
Hmm.
And so if I'm a person who's not me, obviously, and I log on to Facebook and I see that, and then I see hundreds of comments basically being like, yeah, I agree with this statement by Chase Elliott. It is reasonable to assume that it is true. I mean, hundreds of people commented on it. So are hundreds of people idiots? Now, you and I know the answer is yeah.
Yeah.
But it also could be hundreds of bots that are just commenting on this thing so that it looks true. So, in order to engineer a social media platform that was more true, you would have to find a way to ban bots. You would have to find a way to
Yeah.
like verify all accounts. You would have to find a way to allow for community notes and have an exceptionally responsive team when it comes, or potentially exceptionally responsive and well crafted AI that would actually take reports of false
False
posts or
statements.
false accounts and actually look into them. Um,
It sounds nice. I do like it. I just, for me, the pessimist again, I just think that it all comes down to you can create a platform and you can have people come and join your platform, but at the end of the day, to me, people corrupt everything, and the people would eventually just fall into those old tropes, and the next thing you know they'd be saying My speech is being silenced by Nina's community guidelines. She's a communist. And then next thing you know,
But
like
that's
they
fine
would.
is my point. It's fine.
Hmm.
Like there's no reason. So in social media platforms have been taken to court many times over like people with First Amendment rights, right? But
Hmm.
social media platforms have always won because they are private companies or publicly held companies that are not,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want with their own platforms. If there's a bunch of backlash, like my speech is being controlled, who gives a shit? Like,
Who gives a
honestly,
shit,
all we
right?
need is a couple of
Yeah.
people with a fucking backbone to get in there and be like, I
Right.
don't fucking care. Your opinions are
Yeah. This is
garbage.
20.
They're
Yeah.
not
This is
based in
2026.
reality.
People don't have backbones.
Well, some people do.
There's a
Colbert is
few.
getting fired because he does. All right. Some
That's
people
right. He's
have a backbone,
American hero. He's a hero.
and we need more people like that. And there needs to be somebody like that running social media if we're ever going to get it back in any sort of usable, functional, truthful
Do
kind
you
of way.
think? What do you think about this? Like, I remember, so I took broadcasting in college, and I remember learning an introductory to broadcasting. One of the things you learn, one of the first classes you take in the curriculum, is about how in the early stages and creations of radio, families, churches, businesses could have radio stations. If they had an engineering knowledge of how radio worked, they could create radio stations. And it was the wild, wild west of frequencies eating other frequencies and people fighting over, radio broadcast power. And finally, the creation of the FCC had to come in and start regulating frequencies, and you had to be a broadcast network with a license. Now, I know that's funny that I bring that up now with the FCC chairman trying to withhold people's licenses. So, like there's real talk of like CBS, disappearing in our lifetime.
Right.
And wanting every broadcast network to start the day off with the salute to the flag and the national anthem and all this shit. But could it take something like the FCC being run in our fantasy world by someone who is good at their job and knows what they're doing and is ethical, but the FCC come in and actually give licenses to social media platforms to operate? I mean, is it the responsibility of the FCC to step in like they did with radio and television when these things came about? I mean, I don't know. Could we consider Facebook, Instagram, TikTok to be a part of broadcast networking?
I don't think it needs to be a part of broadcast networking, but as you know, there's never been any sort of real regulation on social media to this
Mhm.
day. So if we had established at some point a regulating body for social media, perhaps we would not be in the situation we are today. Now, that's particularly terrifying given that our dear leader also refuses to regulate AI. And if we let AI run rampant the way we have social media, we could be in a real situation 10 to 20 years from now. But
Yeah, I
I,
mean, that's what it is
I,
for me.
I wish we would, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I do
wish
too,
that
because
that
that's,
version that you posted existed.
yeah, I mean, because that's what it is for me. It's the lack of responsibility, lack of just regulation. I mean, like, not to, I always come back to this, but it's a perfect movie, Jurassic Park. There was no responsibility or regulation when it came to John Hammond creating the dinosaurs on the island, and he just wanted to do it because it was going to be cool and people were going to love seeing these animals. But there was no responsibility there to actually what anybody was doing. They just did it because they could, and then they were going to make profit off of it. And the dinosaurs ended up eating a lot of those people. So, I mean, it was, I think that same story and tale applies to social media. In AI, there seems to be, with none of this, there is no responsibility. There is no regulation. There is only like, this is making me a shitload of money and everyone should jump on with me, and I can sell your brand here, and sensationalism and anger sells and it makes profit. And the more angrier people get about this, the more money they're going to spend, and we're going to make tons of money, and we're going to watch society crumble, but it's going to be okay because we're going to be set.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was that a mic drop? Did it just get real quiet? Did I just finish? Like, did it? But
It does feel like there are no adults in the room currently, just in America, and that is a huge problem that we're gonna have to address, but that doesn't stop me from being hopeful that maybe someday the adults
yeah,
will come back. We'll stop sniping at each other over stupid shit and start actually finding, like, the common ground we can agree on, and once again, make policies based on that common ground and not the extremes of each political party or opinion.
sadly, I don't think it's going to come from millennials, but I think a younger generation coming up can see. I do have hope, actually. The one time that I will have hope for something. Some of the younger generations coming up now maybe will see the problems that AI will pose for them, and they will come up less
I
liking
think if
it.
it
I
comes
don't
from
know. Or
younger
maybe
generations, we're already fucked. It has to come from
yeah.
millennials.
Yeah.
We are
Oh,
the
I
next
just don't think it's.
generation.
I know, and I know the boomers are slowly fading away, and it is becoming more of millennial space. But I don't know, man. I hope it is. I hope it's us. I hope we can right the ship. I know that millennials in general are they're more open about their feelings. They think about things more. They're more environmentally conscious. We grew up with technology, without technology. We're kind of in that space where smartphones and social media came in when we were teenagers. Um, so we're in an interesting spot. But can we do it? Can we do it, Nina?
It's a good question. But
Mm,
in the meantime, let's get back to the things we actually like about social media and end on a high note.
right, because there are good things.
There are a few good things. So you and I both predominantly love Instagram
Yes.
because it actually still has pockets of joy on it, and it's just not a deluge of fake, terrible things. So I think you and I both selected maybe 3 videos to show each other of our favorite things on social media and the stuff that we can still actually get joy from. So, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll go first. So let me just share my content here. So this first one, this dude, his name is Francis, and like me, he is also enamored with trains. I love trains and I love cars, and he loves trains and cars. I love trains, planes, and automobiles essentially, and he does too. But a lot of his content does come from his love of trains, and I just wanted to show him off because he is the most wholesome thing on social media that I could find. And I love and I wish that I was enthusiastic about anything that he is, because I feel like he is so excited about all of his passions. And even though I love writing and I love comic books and I love movies, I don't know if I have that level of passion, and I kind of like feel like I should. But anyway, I want to show this guy off. So this is him in Berlin seeing a train.
I'm in Berlin today, and I'm here to witness the loudest diesel locomotive in Germany. I've
Like,
never
look
seen
how
it
excited
in
he
real
is
life,
about
so
this.
I'm really looking
I
forward
know.
to riding behind it. Okay, this is my first time seeing a
The
Ludmilla
camera
in real
angle,
life.
I love the
classic.
camera. Oh, look at him. He's so happy.
Oh my goodness me. Look at that engine in there. Okay, can't forget the hot chocolates.
This is my first rail tour in Germany too,
Yeah, we'll get on down here.
so I'm totally unfamiliar with the boarding formalities.
Yeah,
Totally unfamiliar.
Now to
Gosh.
head up to the front of the train.
he's really
where
cool.
usually in-
He's really cool, but all of his content is like that. It's just all like train centered, focused around cars and those kinds of things. A big fan of him. Another thing I want to show you that I love to watch on YouTube or social media, Facebook. Actually, this comes from Facebook.
Okay.
I really like cooking videos. I watch a ton of cooking stuff on social media, and this is one of my favorites that I found. She's really cool. Her name's Olivia, and she makes these cooking videos, but and she's really good and can show off some techniques, but she's really funny, and I just wanted to show some of her.
Good morning. Today I'm going to show you what I eat when I want to eat healthy, but I don't want to hate my fucking life. It's chicken.
Like, I don't know, she's like this punk rock chef. I mean, do you get that? Like, I don't know, she's really cool.
I like the music behind it.
Yeah, like the background track.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's
The way she's
really
kind of
neat.
like rough chopping everything. Like, it doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be like healthy.
I know. What I like about this, though, is that like I love her videos, and she even has gotten more popular because of this stuff, that she started doing her own YouTube show, and she's starting to get featured places, and that's what I really like. That's what I like about social media, and why I chose this clip in particular, is because network television, like Food Network, used to gatekeep who would be popular and who would be considered like a great chef. But because of social media, if you're talented, you can get out there and show that, like, you know, look at that dish. Look at that dish.
It does look really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I don't know, like, that's why I chose that clip in particular, is just to say that, like, you know, people don't have to gatekeep when it comes to like filmmaking or being a television chef. Social media has allowed her to show off her craft, and now it's starting to pay dividends. You know, she can have, I think she's working on like a cookbook, and she's got a YouTube show and all this, and it all came from likes and subs and Facebook videos and these type of things. So I don't know, like, it has its perks. And then lastly, well, I think my third video disappeared. Never mind. I was going to show that there's a video series that I like to watch about like how candy's made, and just in general, there's three types of things that I watch a lot. It's how there's a company that makes videos based on the candy they're making, so they show their candy making process. I watch those all the time. I watch videos of like restoration videos where somebody will take like a rusted knife and they will you know, go through the process of them like bringing it back to where it looks cool. I love watching restoration videos. And then lastly, the one that I chose, but it disappeared on me, was carpet cleaning.
Interesting.
It is the most soothing thing in the world to see someone take like the nastiest, dirtiest piece of carpet and then sit there and just scrub it and clean it and just watch it come back, and then by the end of the video it's like pristine. I love watching that.
Well, all of those sound pretty good. To be honest, I am much more basic and spend much less time on social media than you do. So all of mine are just adorable animals. And I'm not even sorry about
Sweet.
it.
Let's see him.
So the first one is a cute little chinchilla.
God, I
know
love it
I've showed
already.
you before, but he's my favorite.
Oh my God. We actually got to see some chinchillas in person a weekend ago?
Yeah, at the science center.
Yes.
But,
oh,
like,
they were adorable.
There's just something so satisfying about this video too, just watching how happy this little chinchilla is getting brushed. Like,
yeah, this chinchilla doesn't give a damn about social media and its corruption. He's just like, I'm just getting brushed right now.
yeah,
It would be so nice to be a chinchilla.
it would. At least at this person's house.
God's
second-
listening. I want to be a chinchilla.
Second one, of course, is this little parrot named Jackson, who likes to dance.
Alexa, play music.
I love that the bird is asking Alexa to play the song.
I know.
and his owners are like, Alexa, stop. The bird's
There-
like, no, it's time to party.
There was
That's
another
great.
great one where he yells at Alexa to call mom, basically, and calls her mom at like 2 a.m.
Hey, look. In the comments section, somebody doesn't think it's real. See? Somebody doesn't think that that's real. It says too many people believing this is real.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. It probably wasn't 2 a.m, but it could have happened.
I just think that's funny. See, they don't believe what they see. Oh, look at the puppy.
And then this last one is just, who doesn't love an adorable dog?
Yeah. Look at that. That is such a fluff ball.
It just has the most adorable little howl. I just love it.
Yeah, that is so cool.
So yeah, this is the stuff I watch on
See,
social
this is
media
all the social media should
to
be
make
used
myself
for.
feel better.
Yeah, this is all social media should be used for. It should be for cooking videos, cat videos, chinchilla videos, looking at trains.
Yeah.
That's all it should be used for and nothing else.
Just people talking about their hobbies. And we could go back to a great time of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you and I have a race to watch this afternoon and
We do.
and some NCAA tournament games to watch later.
Yeah.
Any predictions?
Well, last week's race ended up being what we kind of thought it was going to be. I remember saying that I thought Toyota was going to be strong. Toyota was indeed very strong. They ended up winning the race with Denny Hamlin. Pretty exciting race, actually. Denny got a speeding penalty, had to go to the back of the pack, and then drove all the way through the pack to ultimately win the race, which was exciting for him. He gets 61 wins, so he is now in the top 10 winningest drivers proper. He was tied with Kevin Harvick, but Kevin Harvick has now been bumped from the top 10, which some of the comments he's been making lately, I don't even care. But I think that's really special for Denny Hamlin to now be considered. I mean, he's got to be on the Rushmore of one of the greatest of all times. The only problem is he doesn't have a NASCAR championship. And I think some people are still going to hold him back for that, but I think that that's kind of bull. I mean, I do think he's probably one of the greatest drivers, and he's doing something that's kind of out of the fray for normal racing progression in careers. Like there's usually around this time in his careers when race car drivers start to slow down. Bill Elliott went on a 7-year winless streak. Rusty Wallace eventually went on a winless streak. Dale Jarrett. It happened to all of them. They get to a certain age and they can't seem to find their way back to the front. And it seems like the older Denny Hamlin gets, the better he gets, and he's continuing that today. Today we head to Darlington. I think from what I saw in qualifying and practice, I think it could be a pretty compelling race. It's going to eat tires alive, and I think when tires disintegrate like that, it makes for better racing. I'm pumped about 2311 being on the front row. Man, Nina, what did they find over the off season that would allow 2311 to be as strong as they've been?
I really don't know, to be honest, but I think it's kind of interesting because I think Denny Hamlin's only challenge to potentially getting back into like a championship situation might be his own company.
Yeah,
it might be that 2311 keeps him from getting a championship.
It's looking that
forward.
way. I mean, it's looking that like his biggest competition is his own company, which is an interesting storyline I actually hadn't thought of until you posed that he might have to try and upset his own company's chances at a championship for his own self-serving reasons.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good shot. You know who I oddly think has a really good chance at it too is Chase Elliott. And that's only because Chase Elliott has always been a very quiet racer. He has always been able to find top 5 finishes, find top 10 finishes. He might not get the wins, and he hasn't been as strong since they switched over to this new generation of car. But he scores points, and it could be something like what happened in the case of 2003. I know you weren't watching it at the time, but in 2003, Matt Kenseth ended up winning like one race that year and ended up winning the championship by an exorbitant amount of points. And that's what started the chase, because fans complained that a driver could go out and finish fourth every week and win the championship versus winning races, and that's what brought about the chase. Now we're kind of going back to a little bit of the points being, points mattering more, and I think that's going to benefit a guy like Chase Elliott, who just clicks off finishes, man. He just has good days. He doesn't win the race, but he just puts together, like, I finished third here, I finished fourth here, I finished sixth here. That adds up.
That does make sense. My only thought is wins do count for more points now.
They do
Chase
much
Elliott
more than they
doesn't
did back then.
historically win a lot of stages, so he's not racking up a ton of points.
The bonus
way.
points.
He does finish well.
That's a good point. Because he doesn't get the bonus points, but by the end of the race, through a whole body of race, when it's all said and done, he gets a good finish, but he missed out on like stage points.
Yeah, extra points.
Yeah. But I'm looking forward to this is the first Darlington race that I've been excited. Not that it's going to be a good race. I'm hoping it's going to be a good race, but this is the first time I remember going into a Darlington race that I was excited to see because of the tire fall off and the tire wear that they're experiencing. So, and how slick it is and how hard they've been saying that driving this track has been. It makes me excited to watch the race.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how today goes.
Me too.
I obviously root for 2311 a lot. So it'll be interesting if Reddick gets another win. That would be crazy. That would be a crazy way to start the year. So
yeah,
I might be pulling for Bubba, but.
And you're still kicking my ass. I think I'm 160 points behind you in our fantasy thing. So you're slowly starting to pull away. When it comes to March Madness, I'm in a tournament right now with some friends at work, and I was doing there was a point where I was leading it, but I checked it this morning and I've now fallen to 6th place.
No.
I had a rough round too. A couple of teams that I picked to win did not. Yeah, so I had a pretty rough round too. I think I can still do this. Like, there's still opportunities. But the pathway to victory has certainly narrowed.
Yeah.
So yeah, but man, for a moment there around 1:00 in the afternoon, I was looking like a superstar. And then it all by 8:00 last night, it all withered away.
There are definitely ways to come back in the NCAA tournament. I've seen it happen before, but it's hard. If there are a lot of second round upsets, it gets crazy. So
Gonzaga was one for me. Gonzaga got eliminated in round 2, and damn. And but yeah, no, I'm still. But Michigan, the team I picked to win, Michigan is still in it. They're still in the mix. So what I need is some of the guys ahead of me, there's one guy ahead of me who has Florida. There's 2 people ahead of me who have Duke, and then there's another dude ahead of me who has Arizona. I need one of those teams to lose. You know what I mean?
I don't know if that's going to happen for you early.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen. But if a team in round 3 was to, unseat one of the top teams, because I know that those are the top 4 teams, right? Duke, Arizona, Michigan, yada yada, Florida. So if one of those was to lose before we get to the Final Four, that would be amazing.
Well,
that would open up that would open up some ways back to the front. So
well, I know you're rooting against the home team because we vote for UConn in this house.
Yeah,
but,
I would. So that's the thing, is that I want UConn to win just because I'm a fan of UConn. Go Huskies. But I can't see it happening. I think that they're going to play UCLA tonight.
I mean, the women will bring it home.
The women are definitely going to bring it home. There's no one has a chance.
I'm hoping the men make it through tonight's round or tomorrow's round. They're playing tomorrow night. Or are they playing tonight? Are they playing tonight?
They're playing tonight. Yeah, they're playing tonight. By the time this show comes,
the women are playing tomorrow night.
Yeah, by the time the show comes out, we would already know. But I don't think they're going to be able to beat UCLA, because the other night they did win, but they only won by a little bit against a team that they should have beaten. And Terrace Reed scored 30 points. And as much as I love Terrace Reed, I'm a huge Terrace Reed fan. I've been saying that if UConn wins the tournament, I'm buying a Terrace Reed jersey. And that's still true. But if I don't think Terrace Reed Jr., as great as he is, I don't think that he is capable of beating UCLA all by himself.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people on that team seem to have checked out during the tournament. I don't know what happened. They have gotten some kind
Choke.
of, yeah, they've
I've
choked
never
pretty
seen
hard.
a team get so frazzled so quickly. Like when something doesn't go their way, they just like, we don't know what to do. Like we were supposed to come in here and lay waste and we didn't, and we don't
Yeah.
know what to do now. I've never seen that before. But I've only been
Yeah,
watching
I don't know.
basketball,
I
what,
have
2
them
years now?
beating. Yeah, I have them making it through this round and getting eliminated next round. So we'll see who, if I have too much faith or if you didn't have enough. We'll find out tonight.
Yeah.
But on that note, we better get to our the rest of our afternoon. So thanks everybody
Yes, I'm
for
hungry.
listening to yet another episode of Mildly Alarmed. Please subscribe, like, all of those things. Leave us a comment. Tell us if you think whether or not social media will ever be okay again. And if there are any platforms you're thinking of leaving or things you really like, send us more videos of, cute animals or people who like trains. We're open to all options of pockets of joy on the internet. But
Absolutely, especially trains.
thanks everyone for listening. We'll see you next week.
Take it easy.